And just like that, we are nearing the end of this special broadcast, reflecting on and really digesting, unpacking the legacy of Steve Biko. So, Mokwati J. Lebogo on Twitter says, the big challenge is that the older generation is not mentoring the youth, and we only have 1 hour to honor. If I was the owner of time, if I was God, I swear I would give you all the hours in the world, I promise. But we appreciate this feedback with love, and this is, we have been on this movement, and we promise that we will continue as we engage and reflect on these conversations. But you know, these conversations don't need to wait for the radio. Come on now. You need to have these conversations on Twitter. You are a man who should also be mentoring other young men. So who are we waiting for? It starts with us. In closing, we've been joined by our panel of very powerful individuals who've been giving insight on who Steve Biko was, who he is, because I believe that he will forever exist because his ideas will live on forever. And what are we doing about what he and many others who have passed on, some who are still alive, have represented? So in closing, I would like to get a remark from each and every single one of you pertaining particularly to the move forward. Where are we going as a country? Where are we going as Africa? What are these legacies? What are these ideologies? What should they mean to us on a day-to-day basis? Ntate Pandelani, Nefolovhodwe.
Now, mine is a very simple matter. Is that in 1994, we accepted a package, which package has now legalized theft of our land. That package says we cannot claim land from those that took it by force. And therefore, when we want our land back, the Constitutional Court will say that is unconstitutional, when actually we want what belongs to us. So that legalization of that theft must be dismantled. We have now to go forward. It means that which is said to be the best constitution in the whole world, it is not best when actually it has legalized inequality. The things that they are talking about, South Africa is the most unequal society, is the legalization that is in our constitution, the one that we go around being proud of. We are being proud of oppression. Thank you.
Wow, we heard you loud and clear that day. Professor Itumeleng Mosala.
3 phrases in 3 versions. Land, land, land. Economy, economy, economy. Education, education, education.
Thank you, Tate. Sure. Mojanku, Gumbi.
Well, I wish we had more time. I think the first thing I would say is that moving forward, we have to really start thinking very deeply and theorizing our reality. I like what Mamdani says about that, because we have to understand, we have to all stop being lazy and really understand where we are and what those statements mean, made by Ndate Mosala and Ndate Nefolovhodwe. Just quick example, I was saying to some young people, if we take the combined wealth of the two richest people in South Africa, Oppenheimer and Rupert, it's about 14 billion rand, 14 billion US dollars, which is about maybe 200 billion rand. It will just clear the SAA debt. Just one SOE, if we take all of the money. So yes, redistribution, yes, I support that, but growth, that's what is going. We only have 1.3 trillion available to our people. The growth is just as important as redistribution. So I would say my takeaway from Biko is what Pandelani Nefolovhodwe said: think, intellectualize, analyze, and be really accurate in what we're doing. That's what I ask young people to do all the time. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Ndate Mabasa.
Masechaba, if all of us are agreed that Biko was right on a lot of things, and also agree that Biko is not dead, like you have said, I can't see why it won't make any sense to say, make Biko president. Because if you say so, you would challenge all the things that we see. You will be able to deal, you will be able to deal with the land issue, which I think need a constituent assembly to overturn the present constitution, because this constitution that is Zuma goes to parliament speaks very well, will expropriate land and so on. And what does this party say, the ANC? You can't do that because it's not constitutional. So we need a mechanism that will challenge the present constitution. And there can be no better mechanism rather than a constituent assembly with all powers and fully sovereign.
Wow, and the nation has heard you. The youth of South Africa have heard you. And I certainly take my hat off to each and every one of you for your honesty and for the brilliance of your minds. I'm grateful that you made the time to be here for this very important discussion. And for those who say that we talk and we talk and we keep talking, well, the worst thing that can happen is for us to stop talking. One day we'll get to a situation where we will have museums where we take our children and we point out the fact that we once had a language called Sesotho. We used to speak Sizulu. And before it gets to the point where we no longer have the option to even reappropriate, to even begin to balance out the economic imbalances and social injustices of this country, it's time that we vigorously engage in these debates and discussions, and that as young people, I think the way forward, personally as a young person, is to just take responsibility for your own life. You're looking for a mentor. There may not be one around you. Look inwards. Look inwards. So many young people on Facebook and on Twitter, and so many crying about the same thing. Have these conversations. Organize yourselves. Gather. There was a time when a group of people you couldn't even be 3 or 4 and be gathered in one place. We have the power to do that now. From the bottom of my heart. And thank you to all the listeners out there. Thank you to Metro FM for the special broadcast. Continue the conversations. Hashtag Steve Biko Day, and continue the discussions on Twitter. It's been an incredible 1 hour. And I'd say we got a lot in. A lot is yet to be done. But this has been the SABC Stephen Bantu Biko Memorial Special Broadcast.